Well, the greatest day on the Australian racing calendar has arrived. Melbourne Cup Day, a 10-race bumper card. The internationals are here. The Aussies are in contention. The sun's shining. The roses are out here at beautiful Flemington and Grace Ramage. You've done all the form.
I have done all of the form for the big one, the Melbourne Cup, the race that stops a nation. And we had an amazing day here on Derby Day. 80,000 people. I cannot wait to see what crowd flocks to fabulous Flemington come Tuesday. But gee, having to do the form for the Melbourne Cup, I mean, each and every year there are so many angles, so many different chances. And look, I hope I've landed on the winner in my first couple, but time will tell.
Well, we'll soon find out. So let's touch on Vauban. We talked about the internationals. He was here last year as our favourite. He's back into favouritism for this year's Cup.
He sure is. And look, if we just talk about what happened last year with Vauban, he'd come out with so much hype from Ireland, trained by Willie Mullins, who's got 2 runners in the race as he did last year. And there's no doubt when you take a look at the hype and the expectation and how Vauban performed in the race, that it was underwhelming. Everybody was disappointed with the ultimate finishing position of the horse. However, there were a few things that went wrong for the Willie Mullins trained galloper on that occasion. He had done too much work in the lead up. He was getting really worked up, very sweaty in the parade ring prior to the race, and he petered out. So I think knowing that Willie Mullins has learned from those experiences with Vauban, we're going to see a better horse this time around. We're going to be able to see him run to the market expectation that had him a firm favourite last year. Also on top of that is that there's no doubt he brings elite world-class staying form lines to this race. He's gone to the next level in Europe this season so far. He finished second to Kyprios in a St. Leger last time. So for me, he has to be the starting point in the race, and no spoils at the price is the one that everybody will come for. But he's just such a good staying type, and knowing that he's going to be much improved from the experiences learned, he's one I've settled with in the Melbourne Cup.
And the word I'm hearing, having not been out to Werribee myself, but seeing some vision of him, is that he's certainly furnished and he's a different horse this preparation physically.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm super excited to see what he can do. I think he maps really well as well, which is, for me, always the starting point, especially in a 24-horse field of a Melbourne Cup. You need to be able to get into a position in running that gives you and affords you a winning chance. And from barrier 11 for Vauban, he should just blend across, ideally be forward of midfield somewhere, and I think he'll be finishing very strongly.
Let's talk about Buckaroo coming out of the Caulfield Cup.
Buckaroo is such an interesting runner because everyone knows he is absolutely flying this preparation. He could be one of the most airborne horses in Australia, but then I think about Via Sistina and maybe she gets the top billing for that. But Buckaroo's run in the Caulfield Cup was one of the races of the carnival so far, albeit he didn't win. Why? Because he ended up too far back. And I know going into the Caulfield Cup, I was with him, but there were question marks on whether he would stay 2,400 metres. He certainly stayed the 24. Does he stay 32? Well, that's a whole different ball game. For me, I think he's got a great winning chance purely on how well he's going, but query on the distance, and barrier 21, Ali, means he's going to end up toward the rear of the field. He's going to give them a big head start. He'll be charging home, but I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to get there.
I like that Connections came out earlier this week and said they were glad Via Sistina wasn't running because they'd be running for second. Not third, not fourth, but second.
Yeah, exactly. And, Chris Waller, he's having such an amazing spring racing carnival. The successes continue for him. But he actually has another runner in the race that really excites me the most. And I speak of Land Legend. Now, this horse I've actually got as my top pick, second top pick in the race, I should say. And he's at an each way quote. So it's one that you can sort of play with some exotics. He is a horse that has got lengths of improvement in him if the master trainer Chris Waller can get him to settle and relax in the run. He's been too keen, too fierce. But from barrier 18, I expect that they just drop him out, run him super cold, super conservative, get him to relax. Zach Purton's had a ride on him. He knows the horse better now. And if he can settle with the earmuffs in the race going on for the first time, I think he has got what it takes to be running a massive race in the Melbourne Cup. So I'm with Land Legend in my first 4.
And what about Akita Sushi, another local hope there for Kieran Maher? He has been an absolute marvel this preparation. Kieran Maher and the horse too.
Absolutely. And I think for me, when you're looking at a Melbourne Cup, you've got to ask yourself, which are the horses that are absolutely flying at the moment? Who's set to peak in a Melbourne Cup? And Akita Sushi contested the Melbourne Cup last year. He was okay. But this year is going so well. I mean, we've seen him in a number of races being fantastic. Last start, Moonee Valley Gold Cup winner. And the other key fact about Akita Sushi and why he's my third pick in the race is that he just gets the perfect run in transit. Barrier 10, he'll press forward. Not a heap of speed horses in this race, so I think he gets the 1-1, and that will afford him every possible chance.
Now, we know The Melbourne Cup every year is a great opportunity to play a bit of an exotic. What are you doing with yours? Are you going to throw your first four in? Are you going to be brave? What's the plan?
Definitely going to be brave. Always have to be brave when looking at a Melbourne Cup. You've got to find some roughies. And while I haven't really found a proper roughie, I've got some at a value quote. So I've spoken about my first three. I've got Vauban, I've got Land Legend, I've got Akita Sushi. My fourth selection in the race is One Smooth Operator, who came out and was able to win the Geelong Cup. And then I'm going to add into the mix Interpretation, who looks to be set to peak. He ran a great race in this race last year. I like Absurd as well. So they're the horses that I think I'd be putting in the mix when it comes to a first four. Box them all up and hopefully we get a dividend.
I like it. And of course, we've got 10 races on the program. You've done all your form. You've been busy the last couple of days. You were up till late last night. Have you got a best bet for us outside of the Melbourne Cup?
Tricky day, but best bet would come up in race number 10. The final race on the card we'll have to wait for. It is Rheinberg from a low draw. He should be able to map perfectly, and he looks to be flying in his recent jump outs.
I can't wait for tomorrow. Come and join us here at Flemington, and happy punting.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.